Hey there, this is Marmus from Team TUI, here taking a look at latest conversion that I'm working on. It is from Paul Bimler from 5E Solo Gamebooks. This is an older module that I decided to convert. A little bit of a challenge. It's not a typical Fantasy Ground conversion. It's called The Dead Don't Sleep, a Toolbox Solo Adventure. And this is labeled as A1. He actually has an A2 out there also that I'll be doing. And Paul calls this a fully customizable solo adventure generator for 1 or 2 PCs of any level. What is needed to play this adventure is obviously the module. There's a lot of links in here to monsters. We don't have the NPCs in this module, so you're going to need to have some of the core rule books, like the Monster Manual, the Tomb of Foes, Volo's Guide to Monsters, the Monster Manual Expanded, which is by Dragon X, available on DMsGuild. And also he makes a lot of reference to the Solo Adventures Toolbox, which is by 5E Solo Gamebooks. You don't necessarily need all of these. You probably need the Monster Manual or something. If you get a monster that you don't have a source for, you'll have to replace it with something similar. And you do not need the Solo Adventurers Toolbox, but it is highly recommended. All the concepts that he uses in this adventure come from that toolbox. It's not your standard, it's not a choose your own adventure type solo adventure. So for this adventure, I already put in a pre-generated character from Rob Tui's pre-gens just to get me started. I stuck them in the combat tracker, which is there. And then the other thing you have to do is go to Images and create a new image, and I'm going to call this My Adventure. And I'm going to expand it a little. I'm going to add a grid. 50 by 50 is fine. That's pretty much the standard. I will then grab my guy and stick him in. And that's how we're going to get started there. And then I'll put this down so I can open it with my F keys. I also have my character sheet as an F key so I can quickly access them. And what we're going to be able to do with this is if you go to the pen tool, we'll be able to draw lines like that, and you can erase lines like that. And we're going to be using this to build our dungeon or wherever we're going on this adventure. We'll get into that later. So far we have loaded the modules. We have a character. He's in the combat tracker. And he's also on my map. The next part of this, which is a little different than most, is we're actually going to go to the story templates. And we'll go to uncategorized. Oh, no, we're going to go to this, our adventure, our A1 adventure. And the first one you see here is 00, start your solo adventure. That's what we're going to want. We'll close that. We'll put this over here for now. And in order to get started, so I have this set to just list the modules. I actually want to do this and put it to uncategorized so it's blank, because this is my first template. So I'm going to hit generate, and this will be the start of my adventure. This is 00, start your adventure. And this filled in a couple of the things I had in there. And this gives you your hook and your starting area. So this automatically rolled that my starting area is S1 and Old Tomb Width. So next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click that link, and it's going to bring up another template, which here at the bottom it says generate, so you know it's a template. And this says, so you're going to want to click generate. This has some tables it rolls on and fills in. So I'm going to generate that. This is going to be my next one. And then I'm going to go up here, I'm going to add 01. So that is going to list my adventure in order. It's going to keep my steps in order. I will close the template. It's a little bit of Windows management on this. You got to keep track of what's your story and what's a story template. The story template always has generate at the bottom. And the story templates will also be locked. Your story. And that's kind of the basis of how this all works. You're going to get a story template, you're going to generate it, and you're going to get a story. So then you're going to want to label it the next number in your adventure. And then that way you can go back and you have your stories here that you can go and follow. One item to note here before we get going is that on the first page there's a quest length table. This is if you want a short quest, a mid quest, or a long quest. These are rolled. The number of locations is a roll in the template. And as with any solo, you determine what you want it to mean. This could be the number of story entries. This could be the number of rooms, or you can just ignore it completely and kind of when you get bored, you stop. But after you get these locations, there is a final encounter, big boss encounter, that it'll generate for you to finish the quest. So this is the start of our adventure. We're at an old tomb with a door left open with stairs going down, and we know that there's a sound of chanting heard from somewhere in the distance. Now, if you were playing with a DM, you would ask some questions about that. But since this is solo, you know, we could ask the Oracle for questions, or we could get a keyword roll to get us some descriptions, some further descriptions. We kind of make it up from those words. I don't think we need this, but you could ask dungeon dressing word rolls. That would help describe the room that you're in. We'll use that later on. And these descriptions questions are going to be on every template page. You use it as you need it. Sometimes you won't need it. But I think we're going to ask the Oracle a question. Is the sound of chanting somewhere in the distance? Is it coming from in the corridor or from outside? So we're going to click on that. This is just a simple yes, no, maybe question. I'm going to ask the question, is the sound coming from in the tomb? And let's see, I will roll. It is a yes. The sound is coming from inside the tomb. We're going to actually take that and we're going to stick it in here. My question was, is sound coming from within tomb? The answer is yes. And we're going to leave that there. Just because I keep track of my story. If I come back later, I know what I asked and what the answer is. It's just bookkeeping, really. And there we have it. That's the start of our adventure. If I go back to my map, oh, that's the wrong one. If I go back to my map, there's my guy entering. And then the next area that it rolled, it's going to be a passage, which I already have kind of represented going down the stairs, and I had a passage. We'll add this maybe a little further along. And this will be our next template. I'm gonna play. I'm gonna move my guy. We'll move him into the passage, and we'll leave him there. And then we'll generate our next template. Again, template. So we're gonna hit generate. It puts it right over top the other one, which I find annoying, but you got to get used to it. And I'm gonna enter this as O2. And it gets over there as O2. We'll close this. We don't need the first one anymore. We don't really need that one either. So we'll put this up. And it says the passage has. All right, so this passageway has a four-way juncture. So we're going to go back to my map. Zoom out a little. And we'll draw in. We're going to do it four-way like this. All right. Go back to playing. We'll move my guy up. Now, if I had a DM, I'm going to choose a direction. I'm going to say I'm going to go straight. So I'm going to ask the DM if that's the way the sound is coming from. Simple yes, no question. And, oh, it is not coming from that direction. I got a no. So I'm going to continue on. I'm not going to bother writing that down. I'm going to continue on straight through the passageway. I don't really need anything else for this right now. So what next? Roll again on the passageway. And it gets my next random passage. And we will generate that. And we will make that O3. So this roll is that it's a passage with a random architectural feature. And the roll was pillars along each side. Anything hiding there? Well, that sounds interesting. So we're going to go back to we're going to draw a couple pillars. Not very good, but it'll do. And we'll make that my corridor. Get into the, it's still a passageway. Some could say it was a room, it's just a wider passageway. So now that I enter this room with, or this hallway with pillars along the side, I'm going to ask the DM if I hear anything. See if there's any, if I hear anything in the room. And that's a maybe. I'm not quite sure what to do with that result. So since that was a maybe, I'm actually going to use a keyword roll. And it takes a while to load up because it's a pretty big one. I'm going to roll twice on this. A door and a slave. What am I going to do with that? So I could interpret it that there's a door and that there's an NPC that's a slave, or I'm thinking more along the lines that the slave has to do with a master switch. I have to find the master switch in order to open the door. Kind of that kind of relationship to me. So I'm going to ask the Oracle. Well, I'm going to search around, and I'm going to ask the Oracle if I find a switch to open the door, but I'm going to have a consequence. If the answer is no, then I'm going to have it. And I'm just making this up from other solo play. Is that the consequence will be that I will trigger a trap if the answer is that I don't find it. So we're going to go back to the Oracle. Did I find it? Oh, I did not find it. So that means that I actually triggered a trap. Alright, since I have a trap, I actually have there's a table within this adventure. And we will type trap, dungeon trap. So we will roll on that. And let's see, type poison gas released or acid sprayed, poison or acid damage. DC to detect is 15. Well, that's a little late. I already determined that I already triggered the trap. So I just have the DC to save of 16 to see if it harms me or not. So I'm going to open up my character sheet. Let's see, I'm already on the skills tab. Let's see, I could do, and investigation doesn't really work because I already found it. I'm going to say survival. So I'm going to roll that. And, oh, I fail. So I'm going to take damage. Level plus 1 d6. So it's 2 d6s. Times 2. I'm going to take 5 damage. So I take 5 damage. I drag it up to my combat sheet, and 5 wounded. So let's see, so far for my troubles, I've taken 5 damage for triggering a trap. So we're going to finish with that. And next, what next? So here I can decide, do I want to continue the passage, or do I think a room is next? Or a random decision between a room or a passage. Maybe I'll do that. We'll roll that. What am I going to get? Oh, I'm going to get a room. And the room is going to be RO2. So we'll click that, generate our template. We're going to make that 04. Oop. Put that aside. Delete all these. I don't need that anymore. And while I'm here, I'm going to delete that. I don't really need that. Oh, yeah, there you go. 04. Alright, so here I am. A room description. There are multiple corpses in here, all in various states of mutilation. The stench is horrific. I have to do a constitution check or take exhaustion. The size of the room, each side of the room is 23 feet long. We're going to go back to our map. I'm going to draw. We're going to do this. Let's say I'm in a room 5. So these would be go 5, 5, 5, 5. One more. Over, up. So I have a room, something like this. And there are 4 exits. So I'm going to erase. I'm going to say there's an exit there, and an exit there. Move my guy into the room. And now that my guy's into the room, I'm going to have to do the Constitution check for him. Constitution, let's see, DC 5, Constitution check. So we will saves against Constitution. Ooh, we'll close this. Oh, 13. No, I did not beat that Constitution. So I am exhausted for the next 10 minutes.